Hello, my name is Paul Litzsinger. I am 81 years old, and I suspect that I'm one of the oldest people that live in the town of De Pere. Today is March 5th, 2025.
Happy to have you with us, Paul, for the De Pere Historical Society. Can you tell me about your earliest memories of living in De Pere?
My family bought their house in De Pere in 1940, and I was born in 1944. So I've been here a long time. It's interesting that I think De Pere was formed in 1934, so De Pere was 10 years old when I came here. And so I do have a lot of memories about De Pere. Our house was built we called it a subdivision called Geneseo Hills. And there were three streets in Geneseo Hills. There was Bope and Harwood, and the road in between it was Veneta, which is the one we lived on. And when we moved in 1940, there were maybe 4 or 5 brick houses that were built by a guy by the name of Burton Denke. And so it was pretty rural. The houses, the area behind us, which was on Bope Road, was vacant, and so that was our play area until, I don't know, maybe middle 50s, when they built 3 frame houses. And what I remember is one of the frame houses was owned by a priest from St. Clement's. His name was Father Nays. So it was just kind of interesting how it developed. And of course, right after the war, our street was populated by what we call frame houses. I'm just guessing there may have been, I don't know, maybe 20 frame houses that were erected at that particular time. So I can remember as a kid, we would go down and what people think of as Harwood Hills, which was owned by the Harwood family. They had a pretty nice size farm. My recollection is basically cattle farm. So I can remember I was probably maybe, 10 years old, going from Veneta all the way through his farm property, all the way up to Geyer. In fact, I can remember going all the way up to Lindbergh and Clayton Road through his farm. And, as we went through there was a lot of cattle and things in there. It was kind of a typical rural area. And then, of course, things changed when they developed Harwood Hills, which I'm guessing was in the 50s. The area changed so much. I can remember watching all the houses being built, and they were very unusual style. I think they were called California style. And of course, what's strange now is I walk through that area, and not only were the houses have the houses been taken down, but they have gigantic ones that are going in right now. So that shows you the progress in De Pere. I did go to De Pere school. It was about 5 years maybe before I started De Pere school, which would have been, I don't know, in the 50 maybe. It really was a truly 2-room schoolhouse. There was a big room on the left that was 1st through 4th grade, and the one on the right was 5th through 8th. And Mrs. Murphy was the old spinstress teacher on the left, and Mrs. Hagee was the one on the right. Mrs. Hagee was fantastic. Every Friday, she spent about an hour telling us stories about animals. And you look back and you say, that sounds like a Disney story. And it really did. I mean, we really enjoyed that. So School was interesting. In the back of DePere School, we had an open field, which is where we played softball. And the thing that we dreaded most is the parking lot was not paved, but they took cinders from, of course, there are a lot of furnaces in the area. They took the cinders and put that down, and that was the pavement. And that worked out okay until you fell on it. And I'm sure that a lot of people are still pulling those cinders out of their knees. It was terrible. So the school was a center. I can remember kindergarten was a large room in the basement, and we had the mothers built kind of a playhouse in there, so the kids used that a lot to play in. And what I remember, I think we had like 25, 26 students in kindergarten. I remember, of course, at sometime during the day, we all had mats and we laid down and took a nap. I guess it was a full day at kindergarten. And the other thing I remember is they had these little instruments, so we were able to have a little band formed by the kids. I don't remember my teacher though. But then a couple years later, what I do remember is Kirkwood had a kind of a rotating music instructor. His name was Burton Isaac. He was a very, very famous music teacher from the area, and you know, I'm thinking he taught at Kirkwood for a long time, maybe 40 or 50 years. So he was very instrumental in developing the whole music program at Kirkwood. Life was pretty simple. I like sports, so many days, particularly in the summertime, I'd get up early and I'd go meet my buddies probably at the back of DePere School, and we played ball all morning long until noontime. We came home, had lunch, went back and played ball until dinner. We came home and had dinner, and we went back and played ball until dark. So I don't think anybody really became good ball players, but we sure enjoyed it.
How did people get around when you were a child?
I don't know that we really went very many places. I mean, we had cars, of course. I think we were talking about where we shopped, and our major shopping area was downtown Maplewood. And downtown Maplewood and downtown Wellston were the two, if you will, suburban shopping areas. So we did most of our major shopping there. A lot of our grocery shopping was at the end of our street. There was a little market down there. So frequently I'd walk down and get milk and bread and things like that. And then across Manchester was a little store that was the donut shop. And so we went there and had donuts, and they had the best root beer. It was like draft root beer. It was delicious. So we spent a lot of time there. And then when it got a little bit older, we started playing ball at the intersection of Talley and Manchester, if you can visualize that. There was an empty lot there, and we played a very, very popular type of ball. We played what they call cork ball. I don't know if you've ever played or seen cork ball, but it was played with a bat that looked like a broomstick, and it was played with it looked like a baseball. It was maybe 1.5 inches in diameter, something like that. And I'm sure that trying to throw that ball probably ruined so many arms, because it was like trying to throw a feather and you throw it real hard. But it was a lot of fun. You could throw a great curveball with it, and all kinds of stuff. So The center of our life when we were young was our scout troop. It was Scout Troop 313. I'm guessing it was formed in the mid 50s. And the first scoutmaster that I remember was a guy by the name of Fred Foch. There'll be a lot of people in DePere that will remember that name. He was our scoutmaster, and he was quite an entrepreneur. He used our cheap labor to do all kinds of things. The area in Berkeley Hills, what is it called? That was being developed. They were cutting down trees there, and so they allowed the scout troop to go up and cut down the trees, and we cut up the cordwood and sold it, and I think even then I think we made $20,000 a year. We made a lot of money. Yeah, I mean that was in the 50s, and so with that we had a couple trucks, and we had a bus, and we had about a half a dozen sailboats that we sailed. So it was quite a enterprise. And then we augmented that with selling Christmas trees. And here again, I think we made $5,000 or $6,000 at Christmas. We had quite an operation. And I have to tell you about at the end of Veneta, there's a creek which I just learned is the headwaters to the DePere River. And I didn't know that until I read that that's where DePere got its name. So there's a creek that just starts right there at Manchester and Bope Road. It ran under Manchester, and then it wound around the first couple houses, which may have been a couple hundred feet from Manchester. And that area right in there was always flooded. It was marshy areas. And so our entrepreneurial scout troop hired a guy to come in and fill that up with dirt, and we made it into a great little play area, and we called it the Pickle Bowl. And so, and that's where we sold Christmas trees. So that was kind of the center in a way of our scout troop. And our scout troop did lots of things. We went on lots of camping trips, lots of canoe trips, went to the big hiking trip out in New Mexico. And almost everybody in our scout troop worked a lot on merit badges. So I'm wondering if I became an Eagle Scout just by participating actively in the troop, and as did many other scouts. What's kind of interesting now is my daughter lives in DePere, and she is friends with a lot of children, grandchildren that were friends of mine from scouts. So it's interesting how so many people stayed in the area for the next generation or two generations.
Can you remember West County Mall when it was first being built?
I can remember before then. Many Friday nights, Saturday nights, we'd go up to the drive-in. I want to say it was DePere Drive-In. I think that was the name of it. So we'd go there, and we'd take blankets and we throw it down on the first row or two, and we'd watch the movies at the drive-in. And the reason I said that in response to West County, when they tore the drive-in down, that's when they built West County. And so one of my best friends lived across the street. His name was Dick Tudor, and Dick's house then was sold for Community Federal at that time. We saw all that change. And you look along Manchester, and a lot of the stores were, there was one called Hayes Hardware, and My friend, who I think just passed away recently, his dad and uncle ran the hardware store. Um, and there was a lot of connection in De Pere around flower shops, greenhouses. Um, so my friend Hayes, there, my friend's mom was the Eckelman, and they had a greenhouse over off Bope Road, and then our good friends and a place where we all worked was Tomazevic's greenhouse, which is still there today. It's on Meyer Lane. And of course, the big one was Deichman's right there in Manchester. So one by one, we saw our old stomping grounds transition into the big modern De Pere. I remember when Manchester was a 2-lane road, so it really changed a lot. This is a fun place to grow up, and like I said, a lot of my activities centered around the Scott troop, and really learned a lot and developed a lot. So,
Is there anything you miss about the early days of De Pere?
yeah, yes and no. I mean, it was fun. I enjoyed it. Of course, with over so many years, your parents are gone, and I just had one sister, and she's gone, and certainly miss that. But the other strange thing is, 10 years ago, I built a house next to where my mom lived in De Pere, and so and then my daughter bought that house. So for the last 10 years, we've lived next to my daughter, which has been wonderful. On Veneta again. De Pere is good, and it's nice to see that people like you, the group, is interested enough to try to recapture some of the history of De Pere. My parents were pretty active in De Pere. My dad was a marshal, and you say, when was that? It's probably about 1980. And so I can remember when our kids would go over there, and they sit in the garage and turn his rotating red light on, and different time. Different time. Good times. I couldn't think of a better place to grow up than De Pere.
Is there anything from stories you want to tell from your past, or just so future generations can remember?
Oh, just so many great things. One thing I did mention the pickleball, but I didn't mention I said we sold Christmas trees there, but the other thing we did, like this, when it starts getting warm out, we would have square dances. So we'd go and we put lights all around the perimeter. It was kind of like similar to like maybe a typical 2-house yard. It's pretty big, and we'd put lights around there, and we'd have square dances, and I think we would have maybe 50 or 100 people from the community come. It was just, it's kind of like you watching TV from old movies. Those were good memories. And then, of course, De Pere became part of the Kirkwood School District, and Kirkwood School District was a great school district. I mean, I really enjoyed school. I had really nice friends there, and the sports were great. And Kirkwood was lucky because they had maybe the best basketball coach in the country at that time. I think he had the most victories of any coach in the United States at that time. His name was Denver Miller. And football, and then we had great baseball programs. We took state a couple of times, which is a big deal. So that connection was nice. they did tear down the Paris school. I think it was in the mid-70s. And you say, well, where did the kids go? Well, they went to Westchester School. But what I remember about Westchester, it wasn't far. It's a couple really blocks from our house. But I used to go up to Westchester. When I told you I used to cut through Harwood's farm, I used to go up there and pick blackberries on that empty lot where they later built Westchester School. So you tell kids now about that, and it's unbelievable. Such a change.
Okay, Paul, is there anything else you want to tell us? Or
Oh, I'll think of something in the middle of the morning.